This is me before seeing Sinners. All of the early reviews are great, so I've been told. I try not to read early reviews. Either way, I don't trust early reviews. So, we shall see. Okay, let's just get all the intro stuff out of the way. So I just saw Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, stars Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, and a whole bunch of other people. So this movie is set in 1932 in the Delta region of Mississippi. It's about twins Smoke and Stack. They've been out of Mississippi for about 7 years. They were in Chicago, now they're back in Mississippi, and they want to open up a juke joint. So they buy this old mill plus the land it's on and say, you know what, we're going to have opening night tonight. So this movie takes place in a day. They run into old family, friends, lovers, and then there's vampires. I'm trying to figure out the right words to explain my experience with this here movie because it's a bit of a conundrum, a paradox, oxymoron, if you will, because I have never seen a movie so flat and so boring, yet so captivating and thrilling all at the same time. Before even seeing the film, I was very confused by the trailers. Like, what is this about exactly? Like, okay, yeah, vampires, cool, but like, what's the plot here? The plot is just, I don't know. There's something very flat about the plot. We have these two twins who come into town. They buy this property, and it's all the first hour and some change is the build up to the night. Them, getting crew together, musicians to play, people to make the sign, people to work and cook and make food and sell things, what have you. It's all the build up to the big night, and it's maybe an hour in that we finally get to the evening, and then maybe another 15 minutes after that when the action kind of hits, when it really starts to get scary and thrilling. So yeah, it's kind of slow, but the pacing works. Never mind the pacing and the plot and all that. I feel like your experience with that is going to be your experience. You're either going to be like in this 100%, or you're going to be a little bored until it gets exciting. And by the time it gets exciting, you may or may not forget how boring that first hour was. You know what I mean? But putting all that aside, I feel like the weakest point in this film is the acting. Michael B. Jordan is beautiful for no good reason. Like, God bless America, that man is fine. But as an actor, I've never been a big fan. I'm not saying the man is a bad actor. It's just that every time I see him, somebody's running circles around him. He seems to always take a back seat even when he's supposed to be standing in front. Creed 3, what was that, last year or the year before? Michael B. Jordan, he starred and directed, but Jonathan Majors ran that film. And in this movie, everyone is kind of just okay until Haley Steinfeld steps into the frame and it's over. Academy Award nominated at 14. She's been running with big dogs since the jump, so I expect nothing less from her. Not to say Michael B. Jordan was bad. No, he did a great job. He just always ends up in a shadow, and I don't understand why that keeps happening. Style over substance, because the movie's stylish. It's gorgeous, beautifully shot, minus the lighting. But the lighting is like an overall Hollywood problem, where everything just needs to be in darkness, but it's not, for the aesthetic, and it doesn't run with the story or the plot or add to the symbolism in any way. I don't know what Hollywood's issue is with lighting, but goodness, when you have someone on screen who's a shade darker than asphalt, light them. I thought something was wrong with my eyeballs. There's a man in this movie who is dark and lovely, but I could barely see him. And it was like daytime in the movie. But it's just frustrating. But at the same time, you can tell there was intentionality in keeping, a good chunk of this movie in shadow. This overarching darkness that seems to be following the characters in this movie. Now, the symbolism, the merging of genres, I think it works so well here. We have a little bit of historical fiction because, again, this is 1932 in the Mississippi Delta. Cotton fields for miles. It's like, if it snowed in the summertime. It's gorgeous. A little haunting. But it is what it is. A little bit of, hinting at Jim Crow, but we're also seeing some of the, very sad race relations within this movie, but it's not overarching. It doesn't play as big of a role. Most of what we know about Jim Crow is kind of hidden in the symbolism of the vampires. That was interesting. The lighting also gives it away a little bit if you pay attention. You can kind of tell what direction things are going to go if you just kind of see who's in shadow and who's not. The music, oh my goodness, not just the score, but music is almost like a character in this movie. Music kind of serves as a symbol of temptation and sin and darkness, kind of like, the devil in the blues kind of deal. Music serves as a way of saying, how it draws you out, and it brings the darkness in, and it lowers your inhibitions and makes you susceptible to temptation. There's a little bit of talk about generational trauma. It's more, again, in the symbolism of it all. You got to pay attention. Now, the vampireness of it all, I feel like there's a little bit of missed opportunity. It's a great addition to the genre, but I felt like there was an opportunity to do something very, very new, but it's like he ran out of time. It's like, we got to bring in these vampires. So we, start to wade in familiar waters. But what sets us apart a little bit from your traditional vampire films is the music, the way music and song and dance as a way of unifying people and also dividing people is used to kind of bring in the horror a little bit. I hate the way I say that word sometimes. Horror. There's too many R's. I do for real want that soundtrack though. Like, there's a kind of an Irish jig in this that was kind of haunting. Oh, it was beautiful though. I loved it. There were a couple of scenes I felt like just dragged a little bit. Like we were just sitting in them for a little too long. Like, let's keep going. Let's move on. We've already been sitting for too long. Like, when do things start to happen? Award contention. That's the biggest question right now. This time last year, we had a lot of movies that were in the Oscar conversation. We had Dune Part 2, we had Civil War, and we had Challengers that also came out around this time last year. We really don't have any movies right now that are just, oh yeah, this is definitely going to get nominated come award season in 2026. I'm not exactly sure where Sinners fits. If any of the songs in this film were original songs, if I were Warner Brothers, I would push that. I would definitely push that. Sound design, maybe. They're definitely not going to get a nod for visual effects, okay? Blood doesn't squirt out like that. Like, it's 2025, let's be real. I don't think cinematography is going to be a big winner for them, but production design might. The production design here was just gorgeous. Best picture or best director? No. Just a random thing, because I understand this movie is set in Mississippi, but the movie opens up and my immediate thought is, that's a Louisiana plantation. And I had to look it up as soon as I got in the movie theater, because I'm like, I know I'm not crazy. And sure enough, this movie was filmed in Louisiana. Parts of this were filmed in New Orleans, Bogalusa, Donaldsonville, a city I cannot pronounce, but pretty much South Louisiana. I'm just curious as to where the cotton fields were. I say a solid 8 out of 10 for me. I mean, I was a little bored, but captivated. I enjoyed that, but I was bored. It is what it is.